This is Paul. Yes, I was just looking at these clearinghouses. Yes, there's an association of banks, right, organized at one place to exchange checks and other types of indebtedness, held by one bank and due from another. It is a go-between for the debts and credits of its members. Oh, then there's that clerk of the court, the official scribe, whose job it is to make an accurate recording of the proceedings of a trial and to hold such recordings in their possession. Yes. And then there's that, the clear legal right, a right based upon a matter of law determined by totally acceptable facts. Yes. Now, I know, Pooch, you're an oath of office, and you happen to be in the top secret family and you had a small computer problem, and over the last 20 years you called a local computer company to fix it for you. Yes. And they got to the house there. And they made some adjustments to your personal computer so you could sew in and run through the internet. Is that what they did? Oh. But you have a bank account and you're saying to yourselves, well, we don't have to actually enforce the requirements of the United Nations. There's no binding religious marriage certificate. Pooch. Because we are in the United Nations, but we're the top secret United Nations, known as those elected or appointed oaths of office. Now, let's say that I found out that your personal computer or electronics was connected to an infrastructure that gave you the idea that it was okay to clone American citizens. Yes. Or you decided you'd make a dog of me, and you'd use it as a telephone. Now, I'm concerned because I know I have the right to sue you. And for anything and everything that I find on your personal electronics that was installed by any computer company that has a business license in this nation, why don't you give me the last 40 years of employees of every computer business in the nation? Now, oh my gosh, there's Microsoft. They seem to have a few 100,000 employees. There's Apple. Do you have Apple service and repair? Pow. Now, I'm not talking necessarily the big technology companies, those that are Microsoft certified for the operating system known as ME, XP, pow, Vista, choot. I know. You don't know why your computer's all jammed up. And it's one of these where you're a sheriff and I don't know shit about computers, okay? My job is to enforce the laws. But you had to employ one of them top secret employees of all the computer companies that do repair and service. And they said, my goodness, you got a computer problem. I have a netbook that does not work. Yes, I keep it with me. There's some documentation on that hard drive that I'd like to get at. Then there was a big 17-inch gateway that I had to leave on Guam because it made my luggage overweight. And then there was an experience that I had where my operating system no longer functioned as that netbook. And it used to be that I would use the webcam and do my super top secret intelligence for those that didn't think I was intelligent. Yes. But when we go through all the telephone listings of computer forensics, and I decide to sue you, the governor of the state of Washington, because your wife had to have a repair company put some super top secret software on the computer for her dog so that she could, would you, well, let's say there's a forgery. Yes, and it's not the actual clerk of the court signature. And you're really upsetting me today. And What happens if I find anything illegal on any of the electronics of every oath of office of this nation, inclusive of National Guard? Are you in the top secret National Guard? You know, yesterday I was a little upset because I thought that the National Guard of each and every state has to enforce the civil rights of the citizens that reside in this state and every state. Article 4, I think it's section 2 or 4. Yes! And then this morning I'm going through this actual marriage certificate, and for some stupid reason I don't have a phone call from my sons. Now, it would be a very painful experience to find out that you have any illegal software, any memory in that computer. You know, we had a Dell computer when we left for Guam, and it was something that I had put in storage. Yes. We used it as a family when we lived in Airway Heights, but I couldn't take it with us to Guam. No. But you gave everything that I owned to my wife without any due process to myself when you issued that ex parte order for protection. I had mentioned theft, but what if I employed a specialist in forensic computer sciences to go through the Dell that happens to still be in her possession? And I found something on there that was a key logging software. Now, let me tell you what happened. Now, we were living on Guam at the Tamuning Plaza, and I was working for the Center for Micronesian Empowerment. Well, my immediate supervisor was Mike Giglione. Yes, he worked in Japan, and then I think he actually sold his percentage of the business to his business partner there. Yeah. And he took a job working in Micronesia, working with the Micronesians so that he could manage the Center for Micronesian Empowerment that taught the trades. Well, there was a co-worker that I worked with at the Center for Micronesian Empowerment. His name was Clayton. He was married to a woman that had died in childbirth, and it was very sad. I went to the funeral. In fact, he told me, "Thank you." Well, I realized that when his wife died, yes, he began to date another woman from the Philippines, an attractive, shorter woman. Happened to be an employee at the Tamuning Plaza. You know, when you're no longer involved with a spouse, there's the possibility of another relationship. Well, Clayton was so nice to me. He had been in the Navy, and he'd worked in some sort of special forces when they... You ever seen those drug smugglers before where the Navy runs up on them in one of those fast Navy boats to see if they got any illegal? Well, Clayton was really one of these smarter Navy personnel that had been in the Navy, retired, and we worked together, and a couple times he kind of questioned me about what I did know and what I didn't know. Well, he mentioned one night when I was at the back of the Tamuning Plaza, and he said, "Well, you know, they had you on in Airway Heights," and I was like, "Oh, is that right?" They had put some sort of key logging software on my personal computer when I was surfing the internet when we lived in the house that I was house sitting for. Oh! And I thought, well, big fucking deal. I wasn't doing anything illegal. But you know how they think in the top secret family. Yes. Everything they do is top secret, and boy, oh boy, they'll teach a guy a lesson. Now, Clayton and myself got along real well because he explained to me that a lot of the very attractive Japanese tourists, approximately 650,000 Japanese visit Guam every year. He said, you know, a lot of them, they're looking for love in all the right places because there's nothing like that romance that you have with a tourist where you go out at a bar at night. Yes, you see a very attractive Japanese tourist that happens to be there with her girlfriends as they're visiting Guam, and you buy her a drink and you kind of chat her up. And then the next thing you know, she's wanting to have sexual intercourse with you. Now, myself being married, I never did that. No. In fact, I'm still married, aren't I? You know, if I find anything right now...